Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your girl, Janae Evans, here with the second episode of the Truth About Alopecia. This is where we are coming to dive into everything that we can understand, find out, discover about what alopecia is. But before we get into this conversation, guys, listen, I need for you all to go ahead and please hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, come on, subscribe. Come on, join the family. Join the entertainment, the education, the information side of YouTube, y'all. We going places. And I need your help to get there. So if you don't mind, please, ma'am, please, sir, please hit that subscribe button. And also, listen, if you know somebody that is dealing with alopecia and can use and benefit from this information, listen, stop being stingy. Go ahead on and share it with them and let them know. Listen, we over here talking about alopecia, baby, and all that she is. That's why she got that rough name, baby, because alopecia is something else. Yes, ma'am, but we are here to discover and uncover, oh girl, and we're not finna be ignorant anymore. So listen, if you haven't done so already, I'm going to tell you again. My God, please like, please share, and please subscribe. Come on in. Come on over. You are welcomed over here in these YouTube streets, like the people say over here on the Janae Evans YouTube channel. Come on and subscribe. So listen, without further delay, we're going to go ahead on and get into the conversation about the truth about alopecia. So just a quick review. That first episode we did, we were actually talking about what hair is. So you can't really get into what alopecia is until you actually understand everything that encompasses and everything that alopecia entails. And what alopecia is, guys, alopecia is hair loss. Don't get it twisted. Alopecia is hair loss. And in order to understand hair loss, you got to understand, listen, what hair is. So in that first episode, we basically give you a rundown and an overview of what hair is. And in this second episode, we're going to talk about the phases of hair growth. How you think your hair, first of all, get on your head, where it comes from, and how it gets so long. Okay, so that's what that's the foundation we're laying, in these first couple of episodes. And then we're going to go ahead and get into the meat of alopecia further down the line. But right now, today, we're going to go ahead and go through these stages of hair growth so you can understand some of this stuff you're seeing when you comb and brush your hair. All right, so without further delay, we are going into the stages of hair growth. Y'all, hair growth has 4 stages. The first stage is the Anagen stage, which is the growing phase or the growing stage. The second stage is the Catagen stage, which is a transitional phase or a stage. The third stage is the Telogen stage, which, as you can see, is a resting period. And then the Exogen stage is that shedding phase. So the Anagen phase, we're starting with which is the growth phase, y'all. Most hair on our heads is growing at any given time. Okay, so each hair spends about 3 to 7 years in this Anagen phase. So just to make it simple, the Anagen phase is that phase at which the hair is growing. And if you pay attention to this graphic, the actual hair is that brown thing that's sticking up from the top layer of skin. If you look at the graphic, each one of these squares, let me go back here. If you look at this graphic right here to the left, that light brown part at the very top of this graphic to the left, that's that epidermis. That's the top layer of skin. That's this right here. That's the top layer of skin, guys, where the hair protrudes from. And in the Anagen stage, this is that hair growing stage. Now the hair doesn't grow in from the epidermis, what we just seen, the hair actually grows, y'all. Look at the right graphic here, inside of this hair follicle. Okay, this is where the hair grows. Okay, but as it grows and gets pushed further out of this hair follicle, the hair bulb is actually where the hair is created. Down here at the bottom of this hair bulb, but as it is pushed out and further out of this hair follicle to make room for more hair. I'm going a little too fast. I'm getting ahead of myself. But then the hair begins to be pushed out through this epidermis, which is this top layer of skin. Okay, that part of your skin where you wash and cleanse. Okay, that's your epidermis. All right, and that's where the hair protrudes from, but it's actually created in that hair bulb, okay? So in that anagen stage, that's that hair growing stage, okay? Now, the second stage is that transitional stage, which is the catagen, and over a few weeks, the hair growth slows, okay? And the hair follicles begin to shrink. And let me show you that really quick, how it looks when the hair follicles begin to shrink. This is the normal hair follicle here to the left. In the middle you see the follicle beginning to get smaller, and then it gets at its smallest stage where it's actually just at a point where it's not going to, create any more hair at that moment. So we're not going to go too fast, but this is just how the hair follicles look when they begin to shrink. Okay. So in that catagen stage, the hair also separates. Okay, it also separates from the bottom of that hair follicle. Okay, let me show you that really quick when it's separating from the bottom of that hair follicle. Okay, here we go. The bottom of the hair follicle here is the hair bulb. The whole little feature here, this whole little graphic here is actually the hair follicle. But when the hair begins to separate from the hair bulb, that means it's no longer gonna create any more cells to add to that hair strand. So that hair is no longer going to grow. Okay, but in this catagen stage, it begins to separate. The hair growth slows. It begins to separate, but it stays in place. While it's finalizing its particular hair growth. Okay, so that's the second stage of hair growing, which is that catagen stage. Okay, and then also in that next stage, which is the telogen stage, okay, that's the resting stage. So the resting stage it typically lasts about 3 months, and the hairs don't grow anymore during this stage. That's why it's called the resting stage. Okay, so the hair does not grow anymore during this stage, but it is not ready to fall out yet either. Okay, this is the phase when new hairs begin to form in the follicles that have just released hairs during the catagen phase. Okay, so again, this is the phase when new hair begins to form in the follicles that have just released hairs during the catagen phase. So let me show you here. Okay, so this would be the catagen. This is the catagen phase right here. If you look at this graphic right here, and the first, second, the third hair strand here would actually be the catagen stage. Okay, and then this is where the hair growth is slowing, and it's getting ready to it's separating from that hair bulb. Okay. Then the telogen phase is that resting phase. That's here as well. That's I'm sorry, this is the telogen phase. This third phase here. This is the telogen phase is then already separated from the hair bulb, as you can see. Uh, but it hadn't fallen out either. Okay. And then that last phase, y'all, is the exogen phase. But listen, let me show you something else with hair. as far as that hair growth. Okay, because new cells are constantly forming, y'all, in this hair bulb. The new cells are actually where the hair is created. That this right here that you see hanging from your scalp, that's the hair strand or the hair shaft, and it's created in this hair bulb. And new in this hair bulb, this graphic right here to the right. So new cells are constantly forming in that hair bulb, and these cells stick together and they harden. And because the newly hardened cells keep attaching to each other, that's how that hair strand is formed. Okay, just in case you want to you want to get an understanding of how that hair get to start hanging out your scalp, because new cells that's created in this hair bulb, y'all, they harden and they attach, kind of like what is the Lego blocks? When you stack up the Legos, the higher you stack them, the taller they get. Well, that's how the hair is forming in that hair bulb. The hair cells are being created, and then they are hardening and they're attaching to each other. And then once they get to a point where they are getting to that top of that the top layer of skin, which is the epidermis, then that's when you see it begins to burst out of the epidermis, and then that's when you start actually seeing hair. Okay, and that's when it's pushed up through the skin. Okay, so this last and final phase, y'all, of hair growth is the exogen stage, and this is the part where the hair begins to shed. Okay, so right here, let me show you. So that old hair has already been separated from that hair bulb. Look at your graphic right here. That hair bulb is down here at the bottom. So when it detaches from its source of creation, if you want to call it like that, the source of creation. Now it sat there in that Telogen phase and just sat there and rested until it was time to begin to shed. Now when the hair shed, y'all, look at this last image right here on this graphic. A new hair begins to form in that hair follicle. That's why our hair sheds, y'all, because a new hair is forming and it's getting ready to start the entire process all the way over again with this anagen phase. Okay, so and then the final phase, which is that shedding phase or the exogen phase, it's essentially an extension or a part of that telogen phase. That's that part when it just sits there and rests. Okay, so listen, during this exogen phase, the hair is shed from the scalp, often helped along by shampooing and brushing, and it is normal for us, y'all, to lose about 50 to 100 hairs a day. So let me show you something else really quick. It's normal for us to lose about 50 to 100 hairs a day. That's what I said. Now, uh, if during the estrogen phase, which lasts about roughly 2 to 5 months, new hairs are growing in the follicles as the old hairs are falling away. So as we begin to dive into what the truth about alopecia is, I want you to understand and see, it's normal for your hair to shed. Okay, when we're talking about alopecia, if you look at this image to the right, where you see the hairs in the hairbrush, like I said, we normally lose about 50 to 100 hairs a day. That's normal. Okay, but if you look at that image to the right and you see that water hair inside of that hand, y'all, that is hair loss. The difference between hair shedding and hair loss, let me show you something really quick. I'm finna drop a little bit more information on you because we got to understand what the truth about alopecia is, and we can't understand what alopecia is until we understand what all it entails. Okay, again, alopecia is hair loss, and let me tell you the difference between hair shedding and actually hair loss or hair breakage. Okay, or actually just hair loss in general. Okay, so when your hair sheds, y'all, the entire strand falls from the scalp. Okay, so if you look at that brush, the image with the brush right here or to the left, you see actual long strands of hair. So if you are seeing long strands of hair and it's just, they're sporadically there, just normal hair shedding when you brush your hair, because there may be a time, you might be in that 2 to 5 month period where you are shedding hairs because your scalp is producing, new hairs. Your hair follicles in your scalp is producing new hairs to replace those ones falling out. So hair shedding, y'all, is normal. Okay, the strand gonna be the entire length of your hair. The entire length of your hair is actually what you see hanging from your scalp. Okay, the hair strand is full length. This is normal hair shedding. Okay. And then at the beginning of that hair strand, you see that bulb is still intact. So when it's shed, y'all, that entire bulb is coming out with it because a new hair follicle is already being produced in that scalp. That's why that hair fell out or shedded. Okay. That's why it's shedded. Okay. And again, we normally shed about 50 to 100 strands of hair a day. That's normal because, again, if you remember, at any given time, our hair can be going through, the growing phase, which is that anagen phase at any given time. Okay, so typical reasons for hair shedding, y'all, is again the normal hair cycle stages. Listen, stress can be a reason as to why your hair is shedding. Okay, so we'll come back and talk about some things like that, but I just wanted to give you these little notes here. Product buildup can cause shedding, and nutrient deficiencies can cause shedding. But again, we'll come back in another episode and get into some of those reasons as to why our hair, we may be losing our hair. But hair breakage or hair loss, this is how you can recognize, y'all, hair breakage and hair loss. Okay, if your hair is breaking, the pieces of your hair that you see breaking, they are going to be shorter than what you actually see hanging from your scalp. So if you're seeing longer and shorter pieces in your hair, when you comb your hair and you got longer and shorter pieces. I don't know if you can see my hand like this, but some of my fingers are taller, and then there goes some shorter fingers here. If your hair looks like this on your head, then honey, you are experiencing hair breakage. Okay, and sometimes those broken pieces, when you find them in your brush or even when you feel on your hair, they feel brittle. Okay, and they feel a little rough. And normally, some causes of breakage, y'all, is extreme dryness, chemical processing, overwashing, overstyling. So listen, I know I have given you a lot of information today, but I want you to take heed to what I'm saying so we can understand, y'all, what the truth about alopecia is. So again, in that first episode, we learned about what hair is. In the second episode, we discussed the phases of hair growth, and then we're going to come back again and get into the meat in our next episode of what alopecia is. So listen, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for sitting with me today. And in these episodes, when we talking about alopecia, I'm going to purposely not make them so long because I want to keep your attention, but I also want to make sure I give you as much information as possible. So again, if you have not done so already, please like, please share, please subscribe. Listen, don't be stingy. Go ahead on and share this video with somebody to let them know we talking about alopecia. We getting up all up and through, the conversation about old girl, because she sit there on the sidelines while we around here stressing and wondering what's going on with our hair. And she just sitting over there, with her furry house shoes on and her bonnet, just letting us panic and be stressed out and worried about our hair. See, everybody ain't gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. When we get in the salon and we have people coming into the salon asking about, alopecia, and they're worried, they're stressed, they're panicking about it, the first recourse would be, we try to find out a little bit of information, because of course we're not doctors, we can't diagnose. But then the second immediate recourse is how to fix it, which is normally a cover up, a wig or weave or something. And see, listen, before you make those decisions, it is my desire to inform you about what you are dealing with when it comes to alopecia. That way you can make informed decisions. So listen, until we meet again, which is going to be on the next episode, and I'm going to upload these videos at least once a week, when we're talking about alopecia, until we get through the entire series about the truth about alopecia. So y'all, until we meet again, I wish you more grace. I wish you more love. I wish you more light. And I wish you more peace here. Listen, don't you let nobody take your peace here. Bye.